Good day folks, Sean here from Air Photography. So I've had a couple of requests to do a low light comparison of the new Osmo Pocket 3 against an iPhone. Now I don't have the latest iPhone 15, what I do have is an iPhone 14 Pro Max, so that's what we're going to use for the comparison. Now I'm just going to wander through my apartment. It's going to be very dimly lit using Philips Hue lights. So it'll be a good example of what the Pocket 3 is capable of compared to an iPhone. iPhones do a pretty good job in low light scenarios, but of course you do get some movement in there because there is no gimbal. It does have a little bit of mechanical stabilization. It has that floating sensor, but with the Pocket 3 it should be a little bit smoother because we do have a full gimbal on it. Once I'm done filming, I'm going to play the footage back side by side, but then I'm going to play part of it back. This time I'm going to have the ends cropped off, and that way you can get more of a full view. That way, if you want to watch it on a big screen to really take a look at the noise level and all of that, you'll be able to see it a little bit clearer. So with all that said, let's just get right at it. Okay, so here is the rig we're going to be filming with. That way we can do a comparison. And yeah, so let's just get right at it. I'm going to turn the light off here just to get a little bit darker. Oh, that's wrong light. There we go. And we're just going to do a bit of walk through my apartment. And it's very dimly lit, and that way we can see the difference between an iPhone and the Pocket 3. iPhones actually do a pretty good job in low light, and I can't really tell until I examine the footage, but just when I'm looking at the screens here, the Pocket 3 does look a lot more brighter. Whether it's better quality or not, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to wait till I examine it on my iPad at full resolution. So yeah, so let's go for a walk into the kitchen. And I just have one little light on above the stove. And yeah, what does it look like? Okay, so now we will continue. Let's go to my office. And again, very dimly lit in here. Just got some Philips Hue lights on right now. And just for your information, I'm using the audio from the Pocket 3 with the DJI mic to attach to it. So yeah, so that is a low light comparison of the iPhone 14 Pro Max against the DJI Osmo Pocket 3. Now, I'll be back at the desk in a minute here, and I'll give you my thoughts once I've examined the footage. Actually, we will do a little bit outside just to compare the difference. Okay, so here is the rig we're going to be filming with. That way we can do a comparison. And yeah, so let's just get right at it. I'm going to turn the light off here just to get a little bit darker. Oh, that's wrong light. There we go. And we're just going to do a bit of a walk through my apartment. And it's very dimly lit. And that way we can see the difference between an iPhone and the Pocket 3. iPhones actually do a pretty good job in low light, and I can't really tell until I examine the footage, but just when I'm looking at the screens here, the Pocket 3 does look a lot more brighter. Whether it's better quality or not, I'm not sure yet. I'll have to wait till I examine it on my iPad at full resolution. So yeah, so let's go for a walk into the kitchen. And I just have one little light on above the stove. And yeah, what does it look like? So at this point, you've had a chance to take a look at the footage, and I've gone over it myself here at the desk. And I do have a couple observations, and we'll kind of go through that now together. The first thing I notice here is with the iPhone, it seems that I have better skin tones. I wouldn't say it's just different. I don't know which one is more accurate, if it just looks better there, or I look a little paler there. But that was the first thing I noticed. But one thing you'll notice here, whenever there's any kind of like major movement, you do get some blurring with the iPhone. Now, when we first enter the living room here, both look pretty good. You can see, obviously, the Pocket 3 has a much wider field of view. Now, the iPhone does have that ultra-wide camera, but the problem with it is that it does add a lot of distortion. So if you're just looking to film, something with a really wide field of view, you're going to get a much wider field of view with the Pocket 3. Now, as we go in and we move around, you can see the temperature of the Pocket 3 changes, and it gets a little bit darker. The image is a little bit darker, but with that said, that's more accurate to what the room color was. I did have it set to like a pinky color. I think there's some processing going over here in the iPhone, and it's kind of really, it's bright in the image, but it's also gotten rid of some of the color. So, that can be important to some people. If you're filming something, you want it to be as accurate as possible. And that color tone and the brightness was pretty accurate compared to what the iPhone is capturing there. But at the end of the day, both still look pretty good. The iPhones actually do a pretty good job in low light as well. Same when we go into the kitchen. It was about the same. I just had a light above the stove on. So it's pretty dim in there, but both do a good job. And that's the really nice thing about mechanical stabilization, both on the iPhone and on the Pocket 3 here. If you were to try and do this with an action camera, it would look horrendous. It would be very blurry as it's trying to stabilize because the shutter speed is so low. And yeah, so that's the benefit of having a mechanical stabilizer. And then we go into the office. One thing I did notice here with the footage, both look pretty good. I wouldn't really say one is better than the other. The iPhone probably has a little bit more processing. But when I zoom in on some of the things in the background, the footage from the Pocket 3 is a little bit sharper. The iPhone loses a lot of detail. It still looks good, but that's one thing I did notice as I'm kind of going through. And then the other thing outdoors, we do a little bit of a walk outside. Both look actually pretty good. I wouldn't actually even say one is better than the other. They look pretty well the same. Obviously, the only difference is the field of view. But where you'll notice that the Pocket 3 does a little bit better is when we're walking back here. There's a lot more movement in the iPhone. That's kind of the benefit of having that mechanical gimbal. You can see, the iPhone's a little bit more all over the place. So at the end of the day, they both look really good. I'm curious what your thoughts are. Which one did you think looks better? Let me know down in the comments. I want to thank you for watching this video. Hopefully you enjoyed it and got some value out of it. Give it a thumbs up if you did. It's always greatly appreciated. And we'll see you in the next one.